So today we have Myriam talking about functional nutrition, and um, there are handouts for this presentation on the main page of my Substack. So you'll see it just says handouts for functional nutrition. Go click on there. There's several PDFs. Welcome, Myriam.
Hi, everybody. I just went to plug in my Wi-Fi. You know what you should have is someone. Do you have someone to talk about EMFs? Because I know someone on
Don't.
Substack is really
Yeah,
good on
yeah.
that. Because I moved here and I don't have a choice. They put in this Wi-Fi system. I have to pay $100 a month for it. And I said, "Can I unplug it? It's in my bedroom closet." And they said, "No, you can't." So the girl walks out and I go, and I've never plugged it in again. I just did it now, just so that we have
Yep,
so that I'm sure that we have a good connection. But I don't sleep with Wi-Fi on, and I haven't for years. I
yep,
assume you
yep,
know that, right?
yep. Absolutely. Yeah. But it would be great to talk about somebody who can give us the science about it,
I
behind
have
the science.
someone who I've been attending his lives, not on Substack, but he has other lives, and I'm going to see if maybe he's interested in coming on. He's very
Great,
cool.
great,
He
great.
offers
Send them our
courses
way.
also. He offers
Awesome.
courses in that. Yeah.
Good, good. I see Doc Smith just joined us. I was just inviting him on, so we're gonna have we got great curriculum, incredible instructors. Um, so welcome, Myriam. This is gonna be. I'm so looking forward to this. I'll just and remind everybody here who are coming in that there's a bunch of handouts for this presentation. They're on the main page of my Substack. So go on there, click those
Oh,
PDFs. Myriam's going to be here today and this Thursday. It says your internet connection is unstable, but it seems okay on my
I
end.
know.
Okay.
Let's see what happens. Yeah, I just saw that notification, but it is plugged in, so I should have good connection.
Okay. Cool. So I'm going to be Myriam's moderator. I'll field your questions, but she's got a lot of material to go through today and Thursday. So I'll have her take it away. And welcome.
Okay, thank you. I want to start with first a disclaimer. I'm not a doctor. I am Dr. Mom. I was Dr. Mom to my 4 daughters. I always joke about that. But I'm not a doctor. I have been studying natural health for the past 47 years. And I also want to invite you to take whatever resonates with you and just leave the rest behind because I'm really out of the box. I have been out of the box like Dr. Megan. Very much out of the box, and I have been for a long time. So I'm a little different. I see things differently, and I'm definitely not mainstream. So that's just what I want to say. And then I want to start with my story. I want to start with how I even got into all of this. So I was a very sick child. I believe I'm vaccine injured. I wasn't breastfed. I was the fourth child in 5 years of marriage, and then my father died when my mother was pregnant with me, 8 months pregnant with me. So I have all that trauma that I carried with me for a while, and of course that affects the child's HPA axis and their nervous system and everything. My mother had a sister before me. She was pregnant a year before me and a year before that. So she was depleted by the time she had me, and we know that that can affect the baby. I had fevers, high fevers of unknown origin every month, and I was in the hospital every month. And they had me on antibiotics for 3 years, my mother told me. So her
Oh
father
my
was
God.
an orthopedic surgeon. 3 years of antibiotics can wipe out like entire species, many species
Right.
of the microbiome, of healthy bacteria in the microbiome. So I'm going to say I have been working on my health my entire life. I've been working to reverse everything that happened to me in conventional medicine in that model.
Right.
That's
Right.
basically what brought me here. And someone said to me the other day, "Oh, I'm so sorry." One of the doctors that I taught said, "I'm so sorry this happened to you." I said, "I'm not," because that's what led me down this path. And I'm not the only one. There are many people in the functional nutrition or functional medicine space, including Dr. Mark Hyman, who's very well known,
Mhm.
who suffered with their own health issues and wasn't able to find resolution, and so they went down another path,
Yep. Yep.
which is what I did. And
Me
so
too. Great.
functional nutrition. You did that too
Yeah, I
for
mean
the
it's the same thing,
psychology.
right? That I couldn't find
Psychology.
anything in traditional path, so yep, kept going.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, not medical issues, but psychological and spiritual. Let's say.
Oh, okay. I didn't
Yeah,
realize that. Cool.
yeah, yeah.
So, functional nutrition comes from functional medicine. Functional medicine is a model that is different than conventional medicine, in that they look for root causes, and they look to find root cause resolution, which is really difficult because there's so many things that contribute. But you want to make people feel better and enjoy life more, right? It's almost impossible to find the root cause of everything because there could be multiple root causes. Another thing is bioindividuality. So we see each and every person as someone completely different and unique from anybody else. So there's no pill for an ill. I mean, we do use supplements. I would get more and more away from supplements and go more towards plant medicine like herbal products and herbs, which I've been using since my teens. And another thing is that we have lifestyle tools that are non-negotiables, like getting enough sleep. This is on your matrix. Let me pull up the matrix. On the right-hand side of the matrix are the things that we consider non-negotiables. Sleep and relaxation. And sleep is going to sleep at the right time. Because there's a body clock in traditional Chinese medicine. Are you aware of that?
Yep.
You're familiar with that? Yeah. So people say, oh, I go to sleep at 2 a.m, but then I don't wake up until 12 the next day. I'm like, that doesn't work. There's a whole body clock that the brain detoxifies at a certain time, the liver detoxifies at a certain time, the stomach, all these different systems have on this body clock, they're doing their detoxification. So the ideal time to go to sleep is supposedly 10 p.m. That may not work for some people. One of my mentors goes to sleep at 9 p.m. and wakes up at 5 every day. 10 is like ideal, 10 to 10:30. After that, you're starting to cut into the time that the body is basically repairing. When the body's sleeping, the body is detoxifying, even the brain. It's called the lymphatic system. So even the brain detoxifies. Have you ever noticed that you don't get enough sleep and then the next day you're like kind of useless? You can't think straight? That happens to me. Maybe not to you because your brain is I mean, I did it as a teenager, but I can't do it now. I cannot stay up till 3 in the morning. I just can't do it.
Yeah.
I feel groggy. I can't think straight the next day, right?
Yep.
So these are the things that are non-negotiable. Sleep and relaxation. It's on the right-hand side of your matrix. Mine is full of notes that I'm
Okay,
going to
good.
explain.
What's the name of the matrix one?
Functional
It's
nutrition
fillable.
matrix.
Okay, I got it.
Functional nutrition matrix. It
Function
looks like this.
FXNA, functional nutrition. Got
Yeah,
it.
right. So sleep and relaxation, super important for detoxification and regeneration of everything in your body. Exercise and movement. You know, we don't move, we lose muscle. Our joints get stiff. I'm also a yoga teacher, and one of the goals of yoga and Ayurveda, which I've also studied, which is the sister science of yoga, is to keep you juicy. To keep you juicy well
I
into
never
old
heard
age.
of it.
I mean, who doesn't want that? You get everything moving. The
Yeah.
synovial joints, you have to lubricate things, and you get massages that are warm medicated oils that seep all the way into your tissues, all the way into your bones. So that's part of
Mm.
Ayurveda and movement. And it doesn't matter what it is. It could be walking, it could be dancing. I had a grandmother who lived to 99 and a half. She never did anything but housework and walking.
Love it.
And she was super healthy. You just have to move the body. You just cannot be, inactive. That's just not good for you. Then nutrition and hydration. So basically, an anti-inflammatory diet, and that's unique to each person. We'll go
Hmm.
over that. And then basically a whole foods diet, not junk food, not processed foods. We don't even call it junk food. We call it fake food because it's not food. It's
Hmm.
chemicals basically. And water, pure water. Most tap water is not healthy at all. I also studied environmental toxicants, and I used to give talks on that. And most tap water has at least 11 different things that shouldn't be in there. But
Hmm.
your county will tell you it's fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
They'll put the toxins in.
now they have this website. I should have brought it, but there's a website where you can check your water. So I would recommend all of you do that. Check your water and see what they say about the quality of your water.
Great.
And we recommend half your weight in ounces of water. So if you weigh 100 pounds, at least
Wow.
50 ounces of water.
Okay. So
And
50 ounces, half in terms of
half
not
your weight in
ounces,
ounces.
ounces.
Half
Gotcha.
of your pound
Weight in
weight
ounces.
in ounces of water. Yes.
Okay.
Hydration is super important. We also have a hydration handout. And then stress and resilience. How do you handle stress? Because stress is as toxic as anything else. Stress is as toxic as smoking, as a bad diet, as drinking alcohol. It's been shown to be just as harmful as anything else. So how do you handle stress and resilience? These are the lifestyle things. And then relationships and networks. Because we know that in isolation, nobody does well, really. I mean, unless you're a hermit, like a real hermit. But, or a yogi who wants to go off into a cave. But we need community. We need
Yeah. Yeah.
community. We need loving relationships. We need to be with people who make us happy, who make us feel understood. And we need even that in our work environment. We need to have a healthy work environment, which I know a lot of people don't have.
Mm-hmm.
Work environments can be very stressful, they can be gossipy, they can be whatever. So this is all part of what is basically lifestyle medicine. Like, how do you stay healthy is by taking care of these things first. And these are our non-negotiables. So if somebody came to me and hadn't taken care of any of this, I would say, look, you're wasting your time and money. Go handle this first as well as you can, and then come back.
Yeah.
And as far as the diet, we usually recommend no gluten, no dairy, and no sugar, and of course, no processed foods and no alcohol, for 30 days to see how things start to change. Because some people have a gluten intolerance that they weren't
Mm-hmm.
aware of, or a dairy intolerance. A lot of people have that, unless they're drinking raw milk, and or having kefir or having, raw yogurt or something like that. And so once you take care of these things, a lot of problems resolve. And
Yeah.
this is not something you will get in the conventional medical model. They just don't do it. They have 10 minutes basically with each patient, unless they're out of the system and they're doing functional medicine or integrative medicine and not in the health insurance space. If they're just taking, per pay. But doctors don't have time to do this. And then on the matrix on the other side is antecedents, triggering events, and mediators. So we even look at how a person was born. Were they born C-section? Were they born vaginally? Was the
Mm-hmm.
mother stressed out? Were they breastfed? Were they bottle fed? And then the genetics. Even though genetics are not really as important as epigenetics. Are you familiar with epigenetics?
Yep.
Yeah. So your environment, your thoughts, the way you eat, your relationships, all of that is epigenetics, anything that can affect your genetics, even your diet. There are foods that can turn off cancer genes, can turn off all kinds of thyroid issues by the foods that you eat. And then also we include in here adverse childhood experiences, which is in your domain.
Yes.
We had to study that in the mentorship program that we did. We had to read a book called, I don't know if you're familiar with it, it's called Childhood Disrupted. Super interesting. It was a journalist, and she started getting really, really sick as an adult. She already had children. She was married with a family. She started getting very sick to the point where almost she couldn't even walk. And she kept going to doctor after doctor. Nobody could find anything in her. She goes to a female doctor at a Cornell hospital, and the female doctor says to her, "What happened to you in your childhood?"
Yep.
And she says, "My father died when I was 10. I'm going to cry. I wasn't allowed to grieve him. And so she kept all of that inside of her. Her body started falling apart.
Yes.
And so as soon as that doctor asked her that, like the floodgates opened. And then she started to dismantle all of this grief and all of these emotions that she was holding inside of her. And as we know, the emotions get stuck in our tissues. We teach this in yoga. That's why we move a lot. We try to move through things so that you experience them and you feel them, but then you have to let them go, because if not, they get stuck in your body and they create all these issues. I had never heard of ACEs until I think it was 2018 when I did this mentorship program with the functional nutrition woman who created this program. And it was devastating because I had a lot. I was like off the charts. I had everything but like one or two things on that ACE score thing.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we should bring that up also. Do you have an ACE score test that
I
you use?
don't. I don't do anything from traditional psychology anymore, but
Okay.
but I know it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I found it very helpful. Okay, and then we've got triggering events on the left side, like what makes you feel worse?
Mm-hmm.
Because people know themselves better than anybody else. You know yourself best. With all respect to doctors, the doctor doesn't know you better than you know yourself. I don't know you better than you know yourself. You know yourself better than anybody else. Nobody lives in your body. Nobody experiences your emotions. Nobody's been through what you've been through. You know yourself best. So you know that if you have a poor diet, or if you're not sleeping, or if you're um, not exercising, or you're not drinking enough water, that could be a triggering event for whatever you have going on. This is for whatever you have going on. And then
Mm-hmm.
we have the mediators, which are things that work. Like, what works? What have you
Mm-hmm.
noticed that when you do, it works? Like, you go to sleep early and then you feel better, or you drink plenty of liquid, or you exercise and you feel better. So these are different things that you don't get in the conventional model. We also
Yeah.
asked you, what has worked before for you? What have you tried? What is it
Great.
that you've tried already And has it worked and has it not worked?
Yeah.
So it's a whole dismantling of the lifestyle of everything that they're going through. And then we have the middle section, which is too complicated to go over today, but it's all the different things that contribute. If you can see immune and inflammatory balance, environmental inputs. I'll tell you a few of these. Environmental inputs are like toxic products you use in your house, toxic personal care products, vaccinations, flu shots, medications, all of those are environmental inputs.
Mm,
As well as like where are you living? Are you living near a toxic chemical factory or near something like that? All of those are environmental inputs. Then you've got oxidative stress, energy production, um, sleep disturbances contribute to oxidative stress. Bad food contributes to oxidative stress. Uh, Depleted glutathione levels. If you over-exercise, there's all these things that contribute to oxidative stress. Then you have detoxification. We all detoxify differently. And there's
mm,
something called genetic SNPs, single nucleotide polymorphisms, that we all have. I don't think anybody doesn't have them. It's like a little error in your gene. And then, so maybe you can't handle alcohol. That's me. You
mm,
don't metabolize alcohol, or you don't sleep well, or you have anxiety, or there's a bunch of different things that can present themselves with these
mhm,
genetic SNPs. And then there's things that we can take, like a B complex vitamin can help your body to better detoxify. Phase 1 and phase 2 liver detoxification. There's just like little tweaks that we can make if you don't, or you can take glutathione,
mm.
which helps to detoxify the entire body. It's got all these wonderful properties. Are you familiar with glutathione?
I am. And I just want to say while you're talking that folks might not know that you can hire Miriam one-on-one to go through this stuff. Um, so go to her page for that. And what while you're talking, it's reminding me of what we're always saying, right? Or what I'm always saying, which is whatever the body is presenting, you attend to that. This is really just increasing your awareness of everything that's going on in your body. So it handshakes beautifully with what this L is, right? Um, and then whatever presents first, like if you always have sleep problems, it sounds like that then has these answers to it, that you would provide this supplement or suggest these things. And it also reminds me, it's like what we've done, right, where you're listening to the body, and then the body will tell you whether your suggestion sounds good, right? Where it's like, yeah, glutathione, or yeah, I'm not drinking enough water, like 20 more ounces sounds good, right? The body will actually respond to the suggestions. And we're just bringing awareness
Yeah,
to the
absolutely. It's all
natural
about
response.
awareness. It's
Yeah,
all about awareness. Most
right.
people do not pay this much attention to their health until it falls apart,
Yeah.
unfortunately. So it's also preventative medicine. It's, well,
Mm,
preventative nutrition, because I'm not a doctor. But it's a preventative modality. Then we've got
mhm,
things like hormones and neurotransmitters. So there's certain neurotransmitters that are dependent on glutathione.
mm,
Blood sugar regulation affects your hormones and affects your neurotransmitter. Because if you're having a lot of sugar, you're going like this.
mhm,
And blood sugar affects hormones, affects mood, affects sleep. So that's a really important one of ours. Blood sugar balance is another non-negotiable. So we recommend having fat, fiber, and protein at every meal. Even if
mm,
you're vegetarian or vegan, fat, fiber, and protein to keep your blood sugar stable,
mhm,
because that can really whack you out. I mean, what was it that there's a bunch of different cases of people that were like psychotic, and they were just on sugar highs. I'm
yeah,
sure you've seen that.
yeah,
And so they're not balancing their blood sugar, and they're having these spikes and these mood swings, and they're not crazy. They have
yeah,
imbalanced blood sugar.
yeah,
This is-
yeah. And they're not embodied. They're not listening to their body. That
No.
the magical thing is that the body, were we to listen, wants fat, fiber, and protein, right? Like it's actually calling for that. We're just disembodied and in a story, and running a story that creates anxiety. The sugar just kind of keeps us going, versus settling into the body, coming into the body, and then these suggestions are going to sound like mana. They're going to sound just right.
Well, also super interesting is that it takes 3 days for you to change like the constitution of your microbiome. So if you
Hmm.
just take 3 days and stop eating junk,
Yeah.
the cell turnover, things start to change in there. And we highly recommend cultured foods, well, for people that it's good for, because there's people that have things like small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, and small intestinal fungal overgrowth or other things, H. pylori or other things, and everything doesn't agree with them. But there's nothing new under the sun, basically. The way our ancestors ate is how we should be eating.
Yeah.
Cultured food, kefir, sourdough bread,
Mm-hmm.
things like kimchi and sauerkraut and things like that they ate. Raw milk, things with enzymes in them,
Mm-hmm.
ancestral diet. So you eat everything from the head to the tail. You don't waste anything. That's how my grandmother ate.
Mm-hmm.
She ate tongue, brain, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of liver,
Yes, organ meats.
and
Mm-hmm.
organ meats. Organ meats have so much more nutrients. I can't remember what the number amount is than muscle meats. The organ meats is where it's at.
There you go.
So
Back on my
super
chopped liver
interesting.
sandwiches. Mm-hmm.
Then we go to mind, spirit, emotions, and community. How do you connect spiritually to the world? It's important for everybody.
Yeah.
Or if you don't have any spirituality, how do you fill yourself? Maybe you're what atheists don't believe in a higher power, but agnostics don't know, right, what it is or what it isn't. It doesn't matter what it is, as long as you
Mm-hmm.
connect to something and that you feel. It could even be connected to other people. Maybe you see spirit in other people. Maybe you see something divine essence in other people. But we all need that, because if not, it's just like, what are we doing here, right? And
Totally.
then
Well,
community.
do my explorations and meditations there, because then we don't need belief. You can just go right into God, go right into oneness, and confirm it for yourself.
Yeah, they're excellent. I've done two of them on Insight Timer. They're beautiful,
Great,
absolutely
great.
beautiful. Then we have structural integrity, which could be like if you got into an accident, if you had a concussion, or if you have any injuries to your bones or to your muscles. All of that can affect the way everything works. There's nothing disconnected here, nothing. And this is the issue with, or the difference. It is an issue. In the conventional model, there's a gastroenterologist, there's an endocrinologist, there's the cardiologist, there's the podiatrist. Everything is related.
Yep.
We're not disparate parts. We are a system. We are like a solar system, like a galaxy, and everything works together in concert. So when everything is going smoothly, it's like this beautiful symphony. And then when
Yes.
one thing is off, it's like things start to go off key. So then we have the gastrointestinal. It could be yeast overgrowth, which a lot of us have from
Mm-hmm.
taking antibiotics or taking medications. Constipation, IBS, reflux, GERD, leaky gut. All of these things affect everything. The gut affects the brain, affects the hormones, affects the thyroid. I don't know if you've all heard of leaky gut. Leaky gut is when there's intestinal permeability, and it could be caused by alcohol, by foods, by gluten, by medications.
Mm-hmm.
And then the proteins come out and they go where they're not supposed to go, and then you start to feel sick. There's also histamine issues. So there's so much. Histamine issues, like if you eat something and you start sneezing, or
Mm-hmm.
you get hives or something like that, that's a histamine issue. So we have a lot of different diets. They're temporary though. They're temporary just to figure out like what's going on. Like
Yep.
if you have a lot of inflammation and maybe you want to try something like a paleo or an autoimmune paleo. Even though at this point I don't believe in autoimmunity anymore. From what I've learned from Dr.
Yep.
Kaufman, there's no autoimmunity. You're either toxic or you're
Yep.
nutrient deficient. Those are basically what it comes down to. And he's not the only one that says that. That's a lot of the functional doctors are coming to that conclusion.
That's
Maybe
so
not
huge,
that.
right? What you just said, so huge. Toxic
There's
or
no
nutrient
disease.
deficient,
There's
or
no
both.
disease. There's no
Yep.
disease. And then there's
Yep.
German new medicine, which is
Yep.
my latest area of study. I'm just starting to get into it. That is completely different. And they say everything is caused by like a trauma or some psychic attack. And that's what causes all the downstream things in the body. But
Yes.
that's maybe for another time once I actually get to study it in depth. It's just so interesting. It's so interesting because they took away his medical license and then they put him in jail. That's all you need to know.
That tells you everything. It tells you. It tells you
That tells you
he's.
everything. Whenever
Yep.
they do that, that's like they're over the target.
Yep.
And this man was put into jail and his license was taken away.
Yep.
And then you have immune and inflammatory balances, which like inflammation in the body, asthma, rashes, all these other things that can be going on. Inflammation, which we know what that feels like. I have to tell you, the other day I love popcorn. Popcorn doesn't love me.
Mm-hmm.
And I cannot eat a little bit of popcorn. If I start to eat popcorn and I eat the healthy stuff, the Himalayan, what's it called? I forgot what it's called. It's got the Buddha on the front. And it's made with coconut oil or avocado oil or ghee. Okay, well, I start to have one little bowl, and it's like, oh my gosh, it's so crunchy and delicious. I had 3 bowls of it the other day. The next day I wake up like I don't feel good. That's
Yeah.
all it took. And I knew it
Yep.
was the popcorn because I'm
Yep.
blood type O, and corn is not highly beneficial for blood type O. And even sometimes I'll sit down for a meal, I'll go, okay, this is so delicious. This is going to agree with me. Nothing's going to happen, and it doesn't work.
No, reality rules.
Reality rules. Now I
Funny.
can I can go and have a meal like with family when I'm eating with family and it's so delicious and I feel great and I feel nothing and like nothing affects me. Nothing affects me adversely. But then the
Yeah.
next day or the day after that, it's like my energy is down. My arm is stiff. I didn't bounce out of bed like I normally do. I didn't
Yeah.
sleep as well. My brain isn't working as well, and that's the food
Yep.
because it can
Yep.
take up to 72 hours for that to affect you. See if anybody has questions because I'm going to
Okay.
keep
Okay, great. You're just going. I love it. I love it. Okay. We do have a couple.
and see if I can even answer them.
Wildflower Rose mentioned she has an EMF ankle bracelet and have a whole house EMF protection device from earthcalm.com. Great. Great
Okay,
tips.
great.
The whole house is also to protect my cats. Great. Doc Smith says, no rush answering this question, but I wonder if you are streaming via Substack or using some software. Love the show and the guest today. Thank you for what you're doing. I'm live streaming from Substack. Yeah. This is their live stream function. So that's that. Randolph just says, hello, fellow out of the boxers. Yeah, exactly. You're going to
Hi,
want to be out of the
Randolph.
box. um, Trev says, I would love to see that diagram. So the diagram is on my main page. You're going to see all the handouts for Myriam. So go to my main page, open up the post that says functional nutrition handouts, and then this one says FXNA functional nutrition matrix. Um, Amen. He said, Doc says, all our conditions are unique, caused by countless factors combining, but many it is a lack of practice, which corresponds to dis-ease. Yoga, Dao Yin, and other practices teach us to have a healthy, normal way of being, and that is what heals all conditions. Exactly. It's like this. It's letting our body return to its natural ways. The body knows how to move. It wants to move. It wants to eat foods that support it. But we've been so disconnected in countless ways that this is this sort of journey back in. And beautiful. Wildfire Rose also has how to check your water by zip code. So anybody
Yeah,
look in there.
yeah. There's a website for
Uh,
that. If you can put that in there, does she have? If she has a website, that would be great. Because I
she
have
has
it.
it.
I don't have it with me.
Yep, it is. Let me just say it. It's ewg.org/tapwater.
Except EWG was bought out by somebody, so it has lost integrity. Just
Oh,
like
there you go.
just like Burt's Bees, just like Siete brand, just
Yep.
like I don't know how many. My daughter told me the other day the eggs. I can forget what they're called. Some free range, pasture
Yeah.
raised eggs that everybody thought was great. I can't remember the name. They also got bought out. So these companies are selling out.
They do. I know. Substack too. Yeah, there's a guy named Ian Carroll. He has on TikTok is Cancel This Clothing Company. And he has a list of all the companies and who really owns everybody. And of course it's always like BlackRock, State Street and Vanguard. So, but he has those companies that still have integrity listed.
Oh, my daughter sent
Which
me today. I'll put it later in the show notes. My daughter sent me a link to know which restaurants only use tallow to cook
oh
food in.
great.
There's
Great.
also another link that she sent me for an app for going to restaurants that don't use seed oils. I mean, people are catching on.
People are catching on. This is great. What we'll do, and I wanted to say this anyway, is I'm going to take all of the handouts after Myriam presents on Thursday as well, and I'll put them inside the text of the posts. These live streams get made into automatic recordings. And so in the text, we'll have all these links and all of your handouts. So the water link and all that stuff, and Ian Carroll stuff. Wildflower Rose says real mushrooms or other reputable brands of functional mushrooms and RMERGO plus ergothionine. How do you feel about mushrooms?
I love mushrooms. Which mushrooms?
Which mushrooms?
I love all mushrooms. I buy things. I highly recommend, and I'm not an ambassador or anything for them. Anima Mundi Herbals. She's a
Oh yeah.
Costa Rican clinical herbalist. She's amazing. I have dozens of her products here.
Great.
I highly recommend her products. Everything is super clean. The website is beautiful. Hold on to your credit card because you're going to want to buy everything because it's so aesthetically appealing also. I mean, everything she makes is so beautiful. And she has a store in Brooklyn and she has a store in Venice Beach, California. Are you anywhere near Venice Beach?
It's
I'll
a
meet you there.
I'm in, yeah, yeah. I'll meet you there. No, I'm that's L.A. area. I'm in the central. I'm further north. So San Luis
I'm
Obispo.
dying to go to one of her stores in person. I get Ayurvedic massages once a month with a practitioner, and she also uses her products.
Amazing. Yeah,
Let
I
me say
think
a
I've
little
been
bit.
on that website. It's been a while though.
It's
Um,
beautiful. It's so
Beautiful.
beautiful, and the
Okay, great. We'll
recipes.
put them.
Oh my gosh, the recipes in there are incredible. You make these like blue banana bread and flowers and lotus. It's just beautiful stuff. I can't even.
Oh,
It's just it's incredible.
great. All right. We'll put
I
all
always
these
want to say,
resources in the text. Yeah.
yeah. Ayurveda, I've also studied, I've also taken Ayurvedic trainings and traditional Chinese medicine. I did a training in integrative oncology. Plus, I've had acupuncture for the past 30 something years. They
Wow.
it's all about bringing the body into balance. Not only that, it's also that we are nature. And I know you say this all the time. We are nature.
Yeah.
We are biocompatible. I don't take any pharmaceutical drugs. I'm 66 years old, young, 66 young, and I don't have any diseases. I don't take any pharmaceutical products. They never agreed with me. I can't even take Tylenol.
Yeah.
I
Me
used
too.
to take an antihistamine years ago that later I think it was killing people and they took it off the market. But I don't
Your
even have
body knows.
Tylenol in my home. Everything I have is plant medicine, is herbs.
Yeah.
We are biocompatible with Mother Earth. This is a talk,
Yeah.
I gave this talk to the doctors, to the doctors that I teach yoga to. I think I really blew their minds with that one, but it's not something that they've been
Okay.
taught. But we're biocompatible with things from the earth. We are
Yes.
not biocompatible with chemical things. We're just not. And I
No.
also, this is my belief. Remember, take whatever works for you and leave the rest behind. This is my belief in how I live my life. I don't believe anybody can be healthy on a pharmaceutical product. Nobody. Because they deplete you of so many vitamins and minerals. They do damage to your organs. There's a book called Drug Muggers that was written by a pharmacist who watched her husband get more and more sick each time he was put on a medication. So she went and did all this research and she lists all the medications, how they deplete you, and what problems they cause in your body. Drug Muggers. I can't remember
Great.
her name. She's a pharmacist. Holistic
I'll put it on
pharmacist.
the list. Okay. Great.
Yeah, Drug Muggers. Okay, so water. Yeah, we should be drinking at least half our weight in water. Um, I was taught to put a little bit of sea salt in it. It's great for the adrenals.
Mm-hmm.
It helps to hydrate you. Coconut water is also a great source of hydration, but it can raise your blood sugar. Because when we were doing the blood sugar module, she had us test our own blood sugar. So we had to buy one of those machines and test our blood sugar like several times a day. We had to prick our fingers. This is my functional nutrition mentor. And one time I had coconut water before going to teach a women's circle. My blood sugar went like 160 or something. I don't have blood sugar issues. My
Mm-hmm.
blood sugar is great. It's in the functional range.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Coconut water can raise your blood sugar. So if you're going to have coconut water, maybe have some nuts with it, some fat or some protein with it, so that it doesn't spike your blood sugar. Because what happens when your blood sugar spikes and then it comes down, then you crash.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's exactly what you don't want it to do. So you can add lemon to the water. Oh, there's all these what are these things called? Everyone has electrolytes now. Everybody has little electrolytes in packets. So there's all these things that you can do to. There's also hydrogen water. Are you familiar with hydrogen water?
No.
I learned that at a biohacking conference. So these little tablets are supposedly hydrogen, and they make the water so much better and get into your cells. And there's also what's it? Alima. There's a wand. I bought the wand that you twirl on the water. It's supposed to make the water. Have you heard of that one?
I
I'll
no.
send you the
It's like a
information.
different thing
I
that
don't even know
it's
where
like
it
a
is.
stick. Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't think I unpacked it. It's like a crystal. It's supposed to change the water.
Oh.
Dr.
Uh-huh.
Kaufman is big on that, and the naturopath who I follow and study with, Dr. Amanda Vollmer is also big on that.
You know who's also big on it is Claudia, who's coming next week,
Oh,
who
okay. On the
puts
on
she
that
puts
wand.
like codes in crystals and then puts them in water.
Okay, but she
So
does her own thing.
she does her own thing. Yeah, yeah.
I don't remember
She's
the
a
name of this.
biochemist and a shaman.
Very cool.
So she's
Very
gonna it's
cool.
gonna it's gonna handshake so well with today.
So water is super important. And here's a funny story. I'm full of stories. My mother, who was elderly at the time, she's like, I'm very constipated. The doctor gave me Colace. I'm like, and Metamucil, and nothing is working. I'm like, what? Colace has a bunch of side effects. And I said, didn't he tell you to drink water? She goes, what does that have to do with anything? So
Oh my
she
gosh, we're
never drank
so
water.
backward. Everything, it's just like say do the opposite of what the doctor said.
Everything. And that's, maybe this is a generalization, but I don't think Cubans and Latins drink a lot of water. I used to see my mother-in-law who was angry. They were always drinking water. My ex-husband was always drinking water. We weren't raised to drink water. They
Yeah.
gave us milk, or they gave us, I don't know, Malta or some other. It wasn't a big thing like drink water. So when I was raising my children, every morning a glass of water with lemon before breakfast, before lunch, when they were home, before dinner. So you
Mm.
hydrate the body before. And I learned this probably 40 years ago. They would say, don't drink water with your meals because then you are diluting your digestive
That's what I've
juices.
always heard. Yeah.
Traditional Chinese medicine says don't drink cold water. And I think
Mhm.
Ayurveda says the same thing because the digestion is a fire. And the better you're able to digest things, the less sick you get because the less toxins you get. Because when the body digests things, not only food, but also emotions and experiences, and it's a digestive fire. And that's why Ayurvedic herbs is Vashi on here?
Is Vaspi? She should be. Yeah.
Okay,
I don't know if
so
I
their
saw her.
whole thing is all the food has all these spices in it to fire up the digestion so that you
Yeah.
can digest it. If you know, and then they have things to have after your meals, the little fennel seeds and things like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So Ayurveda, 5,000 years old, traditional Chinese medicine, even older than that, they both knew that digestion is where it's at, the gut, which is basically the microbiome, what we call it now. But they knew this. So there's nothing new under the sun,
No, not
basically.
at all. So, but you're saying drink water, drink lemon water before a meal, but they're saying not to. So
No, they're saying they're saying don't drink water with your meals.
with
Don't
the
drink
meal.
with your
Okay.
meals. Yeah,
Okay.
drink
So you're saying
before,
beforehand, not during.
not during, is what they say.
Hmm.
Sometimes it's hard to do that.
Yeah.
But basically, the idea is to not dilute your digestive juices. Don't dampen the digestive fire by having ice. Every time they serve me ice at a restaurant, I'm
Yeah.
like, no, no
No.
ice, please. Water. I've got the whole family,
Yeah.
even the ex-husband. Water with no ice, please. So we're all on
Yes.
the same page like that.
Absolutely. Good. Good. Got it. So the water with lemon would be how long before a meal?
No, it could be right before the meal.
It could be right before. Okay. So it
Yeah.
won't. That won't. The water in the belly isn't going to dilute the
No,
meal.
and it will also satiate you a little bit. If you tend to
Yeah.
overeat, it'll help to satiate people. When people overeat, I'm like, well, why don't you have a glass or two of water? We also want people to have water as soon as they wake up.
Hmm.
In the cardiology module that we did, I think the doctor said it prevents heart attacks. And heart attacks are the
Mm.
number one killer of women, even though there's not research on it.
Wow.
Drinking water as soon as you wake up. Is there any doctors on here?
I don't know.
Your doc is a holistic doc? The one that
Doc
is called
Smith. I don't know. Doc Smith. You speak for yourself. He's or he's sharing something here. So he says, spirit comes from the Latin spirare, to breathe. For me, breathing while expanding posture has been a spiritual. Does a lot of postural stuff. Been a spiritual, physical, emotional, mental, all-in-one practice that has resolved so many symptoms. Beautiful. Um, he's asking, what does Miriam think about fasting or intermittent fasting?
I love it. I do it every day. And I didn't even tell the story. Okay, I didn't tell. I was so sick as a child. At the age of 19, I checked myself into a place in Key West for a water fast. I paid $850. This is in 1977 or 1978. $850 to not eat, to not eat for a week. Not only not eat, drink water. They would give us chamomile tea or what would they give us? They call it mineral broth. So they put all these vegetables in, and then they strained the vegetables, and we could drink that, so we didn't get dehydrated. Because I went in the summer. Then we had to give ourselves 3 enemas a day so that we didn't auto intoxicate. This was a water fast. When you don't eat, the body starts to eat up all the things that shouldn't be in there. It's called autophagy, which I'm sure he knows about. So that changed my life. That got me on the path. I guess I didn't finish the story. That got me on the path. They started teaching us nutrition and everything else in that week-long thing I did. We had to do saunas. They recommended massage. I learned about dry brush massage, which I should do every day, but I don't. But I do loofahs. But dry massages. In the next Thursday, I'm going to talk about all the detox protocols
Great.
that I learned and that I use and that I recommend. So I did a water fast for a complete week. It was hard for the first 3 days. You get a headache from caffeine withdrawal, from withdrawal from dairy, from withdrawal from anything, sugar, junk food, all those things that attack the opiate receptors. That they do it on purpose, so we get addicted to them. So you get headaches from withdrawals. After the third day, it's like nirvana.
Mm.
nirvana. I can't even
Mm.
explain. It's like everything is brighter in color. The brain
Mm.
is completely clear. I felt like clean. And I
Yeah.
wasn't doing 3 enemas a day, I was doing 9. So every time they said do an enema, I would do a triple enema because I was so intoxicated. I felt
Mm.
toxic from all the meds, from the 3 years of antibiotics, from all the dairy they gave me as a child, from all the sugar, from all the junk food we ate. Um,
Right.
we
You
had
just did a
government
full reboot, like a full flush and reboot.
total reboot at age 19. No one told me about this. I was going to a health food store to read up on health to see how it could feel better. And they had all these little pamphlets, and I was reading about Candida in 1978, things that people talk about now. I was reading about fasting in 1978, about all the things that are now becoming a little more mainstream.
Mm-hmm.
And that thing totally, I think it changed my life. I think it saved my life, actually. My
Yes.
grandmother said to me, I wonder if you had cancer. I didn't even know what cancer was. But if I had cancer, I don't have it. I've never had cancer. And if I did, that week long fast, whatever,
Worked it out. Right.
really
Right.
helped. And that's
Yeah.
when I started taking saunas regularly. I started having massages regularly. I
Mm.
started doing dry brush. And then I've done yogi detoxes where you do jumping on a mini trampoline for the lymphatic system. You do tongue scraping. I do that every day. Do you do tongue scrape?
I do. I don't do it regularly, but I have one.
I, every day. It's right there next to my toothbrush. I do oil pulling.
Hmm.
I do a lot of Ayurvedic practices also that I can talk about next time.
Great.
Yeah, I had left that out. I love intermittent fasting. It was
Sure.
hard to start it.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I do it every single day. And I was able to go back to the size that I was when I was 45 because post menopause, I gained like 10 pounds. And there was nothing I could do to get it off.
Hmm.
I did balance the hormones. I take precursors to hormones, not hormones. And
Hmm.
then intermittent fasting was the ticket.
Great. Amazing.
So I
So
love
full.
that. I think, well, our ancestors didn't have food 24 hours a day. They didn't have
Yeah.
refrigeration.
Yeah.
They had
Yeah.
feast or famine. And the way I think that they stayed alive was the feast or famine thing. They were in starvation, which is
Hmm.
autophagy, basically. The body
Hmm.
cleans itself. That's why also even intermittent fasting, if you go more than 12 hours, you give the body that chance to clean itself, to start clean things out, to start cleaning things out, and you give your digestive system a rest, which it needs.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
So I
Right. It's
recommend more than 12 hours. Go ahead.
beautiful. I was just going to read Doc's had another. Doc Smith said something else here. Toxic or nutrient deficient. We must discuss what we mean by toxic because there is far more than just a material aspect to toxicity.
Oh yeah,
That's
no,
true.
relationships,
Yep.
emotions, everything,
Everything.
everything.
Yep. Yep.
Jobs that
And
are toxic, relationships,
totally.
people. Yeah,
Yes.
just try to cut. Even watch. I haven't watched TV in 20 years. I don't even have a TV.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
but the things that you're taking in, like in yoga, we say everything you take in affects your psyche. Everything that comes in, and we know that there's subliminal advertising everywhere.
Yep.
So everything that you take into your body, negative. I won't watch horror movies. I won't watch anything like that
Mm-mm.
that will affect me like that. I'm like really um, very sensitive. I'm hypersensitive to anything. So I know that things leave an imprint on me. So I stay
Mhm.
away from anything that is toxic or anything that is profane or anything that is
Totally.
not like, fairyland. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Not very
that
aligned.
doesn't contribute to like this
Absolutely.
wonderful life.
And
Yeah.
I think we all are. We are all sensitive underneath, but we've been so desensitized. We've been so disembodied. We've hooked our attention into the matrix and into what we've been sold. And so this is this return of awareness into what's real and true in the body, bringing awareness into the body, and then it'll choose. The body doesn't, like I would say, like the body doesn't punk itself. She's not going to choose something that isn't true. But then we have all this, all your rich information, and it's going to resonate. It's like, oh, think that, yes, that's what I actually want. I've been sold this, but this is what sounds and feels so satisfying and fulfilling.
Yeah, we're all
Great.
indoctrinated from the day we're born.
Day we're born, before we're born. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I
Yeah.
tell my children that they were really indoctrinated because they've been socially engineered. They say, you were socially engineered too. My youngest says that. I'm like, no, I was not the way you were.
Not the
We
way you
were
were. Yeah.
socially engineered with TV, but when I was growing up, there was like Leave It to Beaver, Bewitched, My Three Sons, The Talking Horse, like really sweet, wholesome things.
Yeah.
And we didn't listen to the kind of, I listened to love songs. I grew up with the Beatles and the Supremes and, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
this beautiful love music. I didn't grow up with the kind of stuff that they listened to. And I kept telling my children, you are desensitized, because I would take them to the movies and I would say, oh my gosh, even the previews like attack you.
So much
And
violence.
it was
Yeah.
all violent. Even if it was cartoon animated, super violent.
Everything's
And I'm
violent.
talking, my youngest is 25, my eldest is 35. So
Mhm.
as recent as I would say 20 years ago, I would say I can't watch this. It would like overstimulate me. It would get me super nervous. So I would like walk out, and they're like, "Oh, you're so hypersensitive." I'm like, "No, you're desensitized."
Yep.
And they
Yep.
started on computers when they were in preschool, so they've been exposed to a lot that we were never exposed to. I had a very wholesome. We were outside,
Yep.
very wholesome childhood. We were outside. We didn't even have lots of things. We were just outside playing, and then we came in for dinner, and
Yep.
very different
Yep.
lifestyle.
Natural, much more just
Natural, yeah,
integrated, you know? Yep. Not disconnected from nature. Um,
totally.
you want to keep going, or we've got a couple more
Questions.
questions?
Go ahead with
Questions. Okay.
questions.
Randall says, "Does the tea I drink count toward the 80 ounces you recommend I drink each day?"
If it's herbal,
It's herbal.
yes. If
Okay.
it has caffeine, it's going to make you,
Opposite.
urinate more. Caffeine
Yep.
dehydrates you a little bit.
Yep. Okay. Good. Is it Vital Farms for eggs that got bought out? Is that the
That's
name?
it. That's
Yep.
it. That's it. Who said
Okay.
that?
That's Wildfire Rose.
Okay.
A very,
Yeah.
very deeply intelligent
So
name.
disappointing. But also
Yep.
Burt's Bees and also EWG.org and all these other, I don't know what we're going to Siete, which was
Yep.
started by a company whose family member had gluten intolerance.
Yep.
My daughter's like,
Yep.
no, we can't buy that anymore. That's,
Yep.
we're
They
gonna
all
have to
just.
make our own little yuca tortilla chips, cassava
Yes,
tortilla.
exactly. Randolph says 50 years vegan, salmon once every month or two, daily 5-ounce yogurt, otherwise raw fruit and veg. Organ meat sounds gross to me.
But you can
This
take
is
pills. You can
important.
take liver pills. Well, it depends
Take
on
liver
your
pills.
blood type, Randolph. Do you feel well? Because I
Yeah.
have tried vegan, I have tried macrobiotic, I have tried vegetarian, I have tried raw food. Raw food, I
Hmm.
was freezing all the time. I feel
Hmm.
great when I eat meat. I'm a blood
Yep.
type O. I
Yep.
digest meat like this. So I have 4 daughters and an ex-husband, the father.
Hmm.
He's type A, I'm type O. 2 of the daughters are type A, 2 of the daughters are type O. And my ex-husband always says, meat is so hard to digest. Not for me. Not for
Yeah.
me. It's
There
what
you
I
go.
digest the best. If I eat a
There you go.
pizza, I'll gain 5 pounds overnight. I don't do gluten or dairy. If I
Hmm.
eat a bagel or anything like that, I'll be inflamed right away.
Hmm.
I thrive on red meat, and I didn't eat it for years, just like you, because the poor animal, and I was trying to be conscious, but it wasn't optimal for me. And
Yep.
most of my mentors, I would say almost all my mentors, were former vegans. We were all brainwashed into this veganism.
Yeah.
They never felt well. They
Yeah.
didn't
Yeah.
feel well. Kelly Brogan is someone who I studied with, and then she's like, "Nope, that didn't work."
Yeah.
And she has people having protein shakes with like 6 eggs in them in the morning
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
to
Yeah.
keep your level really for people with mental health issues. You have to have
Totally.
protein.
But
So Randolph,
it
if you
goes
feel
by
well,
blood type and it goes by the body. Like because I
yeah,
have a friend of mine who thrived as soon as he stopped eating meat and went vegan, total thriving. Like the digestive issues gone, everything's fine. So that might
right.
be where Randolph's at. So,
So blood type A has lower stomach acid.
mm-hmm,
Blood type O is the hunter gatherer
mm,
prototype, has very high stomach acid. I mean, if I don't eat, if I go like 6 hours without eating in the daytime, my stomach will start to blow up. It's a stomach acid.
got it,
I don't,
got it. Fascinating. Okay.
feel like I have to eat something. Yeah. So it's very different. And maybe the blood type isn't going to be perfect for people.
Mm-hmm,
I think it has a lot of really good ideas in it. It's eat right for your type. He's a
mm-hmm.
naturopath.
Yep.
Liamo was his name. D
Great.
apostrophe AMO. And he
Yep.
figured out these foods that were inflammatory for the different blood types. And I've seen it work.
Yeah.
I've seen it work.
Yep.
Now I will
Absolutely.
cheat because I find this delicious eggplant with walnuts and garlic and olive oil, and I'll have some of that, and I'm like, oh, I'm okay with that. But I can't do things like that every single day. If
Yep.
I eat the foods that are inflammatory for me every single day, I will feel terrible.
Mm-hmm,
So I
mm-hmm,
choose not to, no matter how delicious they are. I'll
mm-hmm,
have them once in a blue moon. I don't
mm-hmm,
deprive myself. I love food. I'm a
mm-hmm,
foodie. But once in a blue moon, I'll see
mm-hmm,
how it works for me.
mm-hmm,
But if I
mm-hmm.
do it
Great.
consistently, it's going to be problematic for me. And everybody knows themselves.
Yep.
I don't know
Yep.
anybody
Exactly. That's the bottom
better than
line,
they
right?
know themselves. Yeah,
Yep.
everybody knows
And this is the
themselves.
idea. You sort of clear the system, reintroduce food, see how you feel.
So we do that, yeah. We do. I do seasonal detoxes myself, and I lead them also, where people basically, which is why I sent you the meals for Thursday. It's
Yep.
just an idea. As soon as you stop eating processed foods, you start to lose inflammation. You start
Yep.
to detoxify the body. If we ate the way our ancestors ate, of course, we're in a much more toxic environment and things are different, but it's totally different. Most
Mhm.
people are not eating real food
Mhm.
for 3 meals a day, eating only real food. That's not the norm
Mhm.
that I
Mhm.
see. That I. So let's see. We can go to the digestion handout, which is pretty.
Yeah, let's
It's
do it.
self-explanatory. Um, Things to do, and I will tell you this makes a huge difference. I used to have terrible digestion. I started taking digestive enzymes. Changed my life. I don't take them anymore now. I don't need
Yeah,
to.
you don't need
But I
to,
took
but
I had a bunch of stuff going on. I had parasites. I had H. pylori. I did
mm,
specialty testing,
yeah.
which is what functional medicine does. But they do that from the start, and you don't have to start that way. You don't have to spend a lot of money on expensive testing. You start doing the food journaling, which you each have. It's 5 days of journaling your food. It's one of the handouts. You see, I'm going non-linear.
Yep. Yep. It's all fine. I'm gonna find the name.
It's Food, Mood, and
Oh,
Poop
it's a
Journal.
FMP. Yeah, it says FMP
Yes.
journal. Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
great. And
So
then the
that
digestion, it says
this
10
is
tips to improve digestion. Hmm.
this is to help you figure out like what's going on with you and your food and your water and your mood. And mood means like, are you sleepy? If I
Mm.
eat carbohydrates, or I used to eat carbohydrates in the middle of the day, forget it. I have to have a coffee or something. So if you're tired, if you're moody, if you get a headache, if you sneeze, if you start coughing, if you start getting mucusy, there's all these different ways. If you get sleepy,
Hmm.
if you get achy, those are all ways of knowing what's going on with what you're eating. And it's
Yeah.
hard to break it down because sometimes if you eat a food, it could take 72 hours for it to show up.
Hmm.
And so that's why we go to the point of doing, we do basically, we take out grains, we take out all grains, and we
Mm.
just do like very limited amount of time, maybe a week or two. And
Got
you
it.
then you start to add things in, and then you start to figure out, well, this doesn't agree with me, or I gain weight, or I get
Hmm.
inflamed, or I get a headache, migraines. You know,
Hmm.
a lot of
Hmm.
people have migraines, and it's food
Hmm.
that's causing
Hmm.
their migraines.
For sure.
It could also be magnesium deficiency. I have a magnesium
Hmm.
handout too. Magnesium, everybody's deficient in magnesium unless you're supplementing because our soil is depleted. The food no longer has the nutrients that it used to have. And magnesium is one of the most important minerals that you can take.
Yep.
So I'll add that magnesium handout there. But
Great.
this 10 tips to improve your digestion is basically very self-explanatory. Um, when my children were little, I bought a cassette tape. That's how long ago it was, a cassette tape that would play music and then ding, when you would chew your food and then ding, you could swallow your food. Have you heard of that?
No,
They
that's
thought it was
great.
nuts. My daughters were little. I had it right there next to the dining room table. Okay, chew your food. Chew it until there's nothing left. And what we say in functional nutrition, chew it until it's liquid. That makes all the
Wow.
difference in the world. Chew it
It's
until
a
it's
great
liquid.
tip. Yeah, makes
Eat
sense.
smoothies. Get it because you have the enzymes in your mouth to digest carbohydrates.
Right. Right.
So when you put the food in your mouth, the rest of it gets digested later in the lower intestine, the proteins and the proteins from the hydrochloric acid in your stomach, and
Hmm.
then in your small intestine, the fats.
Hmm. Hmm.
So there's enzymes for that. There's amylase, which digests carbohydrates, lipase, which digests fats, and protease, which digests proteins. And there's things like papaya tablets there's very simple things that you can take before a meal if you don't take a pharmaceutical. Every time people go to the doctor, they're like, oh, you need an antacid. No, most people need more stomach acid.
Yes.
When you have more stomach acid, you don't get food poisoning, you don't get parasites. The body takes care of things.
Yeah.
One of my favorite sayings is when given the right conditions, the body can heal itself.
Yeah.
And I swear by
Absolutely.
that. If you give the body
Absolutely.
the body's so intelligent. It can
Oh my
heal
God.
all kinds of things. It can reverse diseases. The conventional
Yes.
model will never tell you that, but the
No.
body can reverse. I had so many things going on, like lists of things.
Right.
I was young, and they're all gone.
Gone. There you go. I mean, that's it. That's it. The body wants to heal itself. Its baseline is in flow, right? Where everything is, all the systems are working together and working in a flow state. What digestive enzymes do you recommend? I've heard of ox bile
Okay,
and
so if people that want to eat meat, hydrochloric acid and pancreatic acid, I recommend like really good quality supplements, not stuff from Amazon, because sometimes you don't know what you're getting. There's something called Full Script, and there's also Emerson Ecologics. I have a practitioner account on Emerson Ecologics, so they are like real things. But you could do things as easy as simple as lemon. You could do things like what is this? Oh my goodness, apple cider vinegar.
mm-hmm. Great.
You can do things like kimchi. There's a lot of things you can do. There are digestive enzymes that are sold. I can give you some brands later. Enzymatic, I
Sure.
think, is one. I have one in my kitchen. And just Whole Foods has a few of them that are really good.
Okay, great. Great. We'll put them in the on the list.
And then and just pay attention to what's going on with your body. Like, how do you feel when you eat protein? Does it sit heavy on you? That means you're not digesting it. You might not have enough hydrochloric acid. For me, it's carbohydrates. It's like if I eat a croissant, it's like I stuck it on my midsection.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
that's just how it is. And then and things change when you get older. I don't know how many people in midlife are here, but when women hit menopause or when men hit andropause, everything changes. Like, you can't
Mm-hmm.
digest carbs the way you did. Your liver
Mm-hmm.
doesn't metabolize alcohol the way it used to. Everything changes. Your thyroid can change. Your whole metabolism can change.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
that happened to you? Did any of that happen to
Uh,
you?
it didn't, I mean, my menopause was like nothing. It was just no, it just stopped. And I
Oh,
really,
that's amazing.
I haven't
That's
had,
amazing.
I've just always been pretty healthy. So, I just don't have any issue.
Oh, that's
Um,
wonderful.
I literally just don't have, it's not true. I've had sometimes some allergies, but mostly fine. Yeah. And it's like environmental allergies, not food allergies. So
Right.
yeah. Yeah.
So that happens to us when we get a little older, things change, but then we can figure it out. I keep
Mhm.
telling my friends about their menopause, look, you can't eat carbs the way you used to.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
cannot drink alcohol. The liver just doesn't detoxify the way it used to.
Yeah. Well, I will say that's true. I mean, I never was a big drinker, but I don't, I have a drink once a month. Yeah.
So, I mean, this is pretty self-explanatory. I would say
Right.
also don't eat rushed. That's the
Yeah.
worst thing. And because you don't feel well. See if
Yeah.
you can sit down, see if you can play gentle music, give thanks. I always give thanks. My daughter and I have this whole routine, like we thank the sun and the moon and the earth and the stars and the farmers and the people that transport the food. And we have this
Yeah.
whole beautiful, like, it starts with Mother Earth. Like, that's where it all
Yeah.
comes from.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Beautiful. Yeah. Beautiful. Hmm.
being in a state of gratitude when you eat.
Hmm.
And then we have the
And
H2O
feeling it all,
lily
right? Like we're always talking here about like being inside your own skin, inside your own belly, inside your own mouth, to feel everything and be present for it
and
all.
taste it, taste it.
Taste
So
it. Yes.
that's the reason also for when we finish this fast, I've never tasted food so much in my life. It was so incredibly present. So when we finished the fast, they gave us this little tiny salad, and you were like, "Oh my God, food!" And you just ate it so slowly that you could taste every single thing in the food. It was a totally different experience. So
That's
we
great.
should try that even when we're not fasting. I've
Hmm.
never done a complete 7-day water fast like that. My sister and I were talking when I was with her this weekend. We once did a juice fast. We were high as a kite on juice fasting. Like, oh my God, this was in high school. We did this. So that was even before I did that water fast. She and I had experimented with juice fasting. We felt amazing,
Yeah. Yeah.
amazing. You have to give the body that rest. It's like, do you change the oil in your car? Do you
Hmm.
change the wiper fluid? I mean, all these things that people do to a car, we have
That's
to do
right.
that to ourselves.
Yep.
And
Yep.
we really have to change the oil now because those seed oils are so inflammatory.
Hmm.
They even cause brain cells to harden.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
So all this super processed food, we haven't evolved. This is the Kelly Brogan thing. We are evolutionarily mismatched with a lot of things. She talks about basically our lifestyle, but also our food. We're not we haven't evolved to the point where we can eat GMO, where we
We're
can
never
eat this
going to. Like that's not.
fake
It's
meat.
not
No, we're not
natural.
going
It's
to.
it's for robots. Yeah.
We're not going to, and I don't want to. I'm
No,
not going
no.
to.
That's called devolution. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So water is super important. When I was studying, the first training I did was Kundalini yoga for children, and they were talking about how when they don't have enough water, they can't even think straight. And
Yeah.
in school, they don't let you get up and go have water. They were talking about what a problem that was with little children. They're not allowed to just get up and go to the water fountain whenever they want to,
No, no.
and they
We're
can't think
completely
straight.
deny our bodies in school.
Yeah, our
That's the
bodies
whole point. Yeah.
60% water, but even more. Some people have a higher percentage than that. And by the time you're thirsty, you're dehydrated. So
Yes.
don't wait until you're thirsty. Wake up and have water, a big glass of water, even before you have your coffee or your tea or whatever you drink in the morning. Wake up and have a big glass of water with lemon, or you can put a slice of orange or a slice of watermelon or a slice of apple, berries,
Hmm.
anything that you like that makes it more palatable. My favorite, rose and orange blossom. I buy them at the Mediterranean
Hmm.
grocery store. Can you imagine the
Yum.
water tastes like roses? Have you ever tried that?
I don't love the taste of rose, but flowers. I'm into that. That sounds great.
Orange blossom.
Yeah.
So they both come in a glass bottle. You just put like a teaspoon in your water. Delicious.
Great. Great.
For anyone
Yum.
that has trouble drinking water straight, or just add fruits in there. Add
Yep.
you know, like they do in the spas, a slice of orange or a slice of lemon or grapefruit or whatever you like. You can make all different kinds
When
of.
I'm on it, I just create a carafe every morning, and then I put whatever if I have oranges or if I have berries or if I have cucumbers in there. Yeah. Or
Yeah.
mint. Yeah.
So water's super important. There's the water handout also that's very self-explanatory. There's
Great.
nothing complicated there. Then we've got the set. We're a little bit over. That's okay.
It's
I
okay.
don't
What
mind.
you as long as
I'm
you
fine. I
ready
don't
for
have
as
any
long as
plans.
you want. Okay, great.
I don't have any plans.
Hmm.
7 reasons why blood sugar is so important. I talked a little bit about it, but it's basically the hormones. Um, it affects the hormones. It affects your sleep. So they say to eat, at least 3 hours before sleep is the best, or that's what we recommend. Eating at
Hmm.
least 3 hours before sleep. But if you're hungry before bed, like you can have a teaspoon of coconut oil or a teaspoon of almond butter, something to balance out your blood sugar so you're able to sleep. And if you notice, like if I go to a wedding and I'll have a little piece of cake, forget it.
Hmm.
I'm like the sugar. I'm super hypersensitive to sugar. So that's
Hmm.
another thing that you have to pay attention to your body. How do you respond? I get like
Yeah.
wired.
Yeah.
I can't
Yeah.
I can't have sugar.
Yeah.
Um,
Different.
your hormones, your moods, super big for the moods
Hmm. Hmm.
and everything. So that's kind of self-explanatory also.
Hmm.
If you're gonna have something sweet, in Ayurveda, they love sweets. In Ayurveda, you have all the different tastes. Do you know about that? All
Hmm.
the
Yeah.
different rasas. So if you
Yeah.
want to have something sweet, have a date. And
Yeah.
they're also
Date.
aphrodisiac. And they also keep you. They're great for women. They keep you juicy. Have
Hmm.
a date with almond butter or something.
Hmm.
They
Hmm.
sweeten their drinks with dates. Dates are
That's my
delicious.
smoothie right here with Swiss chard and dates and almond
Oh,
butter
yeah.
and coconut
There
milk.
you go.
Yeah.
I'm drinking water with orange blossom.
I like your goblet too. We've
Oh,
got our goblets.
one of my best friends gave this to me. We're no longer speaking because during the
Oh.
pandemic, she told me to put on a mask and listen to Fauci. And I said, beep.
At
But she was a
least you got
dear
the goblet.
friend. These were wedding gifts that she gave me to to the wedding or
Lovely.
an engagement gift. I don't remember, but I love it. Anyway,
Just really quick,
that's,
Claudia says there are water filters that hydrogenate water. So that might be what you were talking about. And the whole thing now with water
no,
is
no, I'm talking
structured.
about tablets. I'm talking
Oh,
about
you're talking about
tablets.
tablets. Okay.
Yeah, that I got at a biohacking congress, and then I ordered them. I don't know if they
Gotcha.
make a difference or not, but they claim to. Oh, we
They
didn't go over the poop.
Okay,
The
let's do it.
poop.
Whatever you want. Claudia's talking about structured water. So, Claudia, I'd love
Yeah,
you to talk
structured
about it when
water.
you come on. To take blue
Structured
water
water is super
bottles and leave the
interesting
water
too.
out. Yeah, yeah.
I've
It's a
been
whole
on the
nother
verge of
conversation.
ordering that structured water. Well, the wand is supposed to structure the water also.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I know
yeah.
about the doctor who studied the water, the experiments where he put like, I love you on a bottle of water and then I
Emoto,
hate
yeah.
you on a bottle. Yeah,
But
super
you know about
interesting.
Veda Austin's stuff? Veda's taken his work, taken it to a whole nother level. Follow Veda Austin on everywhere. She
Okay,
also
I
just did
don't,
an interview. Yeah,
Veda with a V.
Veda VEDA Austin.
Oh, Not familiar.
wild stuff, in terms of like she puts water near, I don't know, anything, sunglasses, and then the sunglasses are imprinted in the water, and
Oh, I've heard
just
about
it,
imprinting things with water.
yeah.
Super
It-
interesting.
and Claudia's going to talk about water and the magic
And I
of
had a
water.
water distiller because they recommended we get one, and then I turned it on one day without having water in it. When my friend was staying with me, I forgot to put water in. I burned it. But I have a Berkey, and I love the Berkey, and I think all this stuff they're talking about the Berkey, I think it's nonsense. I think
Mm,
they just don't want people to have clean water, especially in California, because I have a Berkey filter, and I was recommending all my family to get it. The water
mm,
tastes delicious, takes
mm.
out fluoride, and it has the fluoride filters on the bottom and the carbon filters on the top. My sister wanted to buy one from me. I was an affiliate with them. California didn't let her buy anything but the smallest one.
Oh my
Not
gosh.
allowed. Not allowed. Illegal.
Well, then we
So
know
I'm
for
like,
sure. I had the
what a
big one, but
setup that is. What does that
wow.
mean? So then they filed a lawsuit against Berkey. I don't know what Claudia would say about that. I don't believe it. I love my Berkey.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
water tastes different. I tested. I put the dye on the top.
Well, you
The
test
water
it,
comes
great. Yeah,
clear on
yeah.
the bottom. So I haven't done reverse osmosis.
Mhm,
There's living water. There are springs here in Florida. You can get living water delivered to your house in these
mm,
special glass containers. I was
mhm.
on the verge of doing that, but I really like my Berkey.
Yep.
Um,
I buy mine.
I don't. Yeah, it
Yep.
works for me so far. I know it could, and I have that wand that I need to find. I don't know where it is. I
Yeah,
was doing it, but it's a little tedious. So what should do is pour a whole carafe, a huge thing of water, and then do it in the morning, and then that's it.
yeah.
I just don't know where I put it now, but I bought it.
Cool. Doc Smith says, I'm not a medical doctor. I actually help people. Yeah. My nickname Doc was earned as a medic for combat tours to Iraq. And nowadays I'm a certified
Oh wow.
HHP body worker. Oh, wow. And medical Qigong practitioner. I'm so glad that I avoided MD school. Totally
Oh yeah.
dodged a bullet.
One of my best friends keeps saying, Miriam, you know so much, you should be a doctor. I'm like, you don't understand.
Why would I
I
do
don't
that?
go to doctors, and I was my mother's medical advocate for 40 years, and it was a disaster.
Yeah.
Plus, I gave birth to 3 children without an MD because they almost killed me and my firstborn. I
Mm.
don't think I told you that story yet. They almost
No.
killed us. So I
Oh my
said,
God.
this is never happening to me again. I'm done. It happened once, and I'm like, I'm done.
Good
So
for
no, I'm
you.
not a doctor,
Yep.
and no.
Yep.
And
Well,
God bless them because they go through all this training, and it's intense. And then it's not
I feel
them.
for them.
It's the
No,
system.
no.
I have met the most wonderful doctors being my mother's advocate.
Yes, yes, I know.
Wonderful. Like one I said to her gastroenterologist, which was the biggest group in South Florida.
Mm,
I said, "Can you please write my mother a prescription for ginger and turmeric tea after meals?" And she was like, "Stop telling the doctor what to do." Well, he wrote the prescription. I said, "She'll do anything you say." For
yeah.
me, her mantra with me was, "You're not a doctor. You're not a doctor," because her father was a doctor. But I'm the one that
Mm,
saved her life and got her off all her meds. But I'm not a doctor. So I would ask them things like, can you please say this to her? Can you please say that to her? And they said to me at one point, we can't do anything else for her. We don't know what to do. Do whatever you want.
good for you. Good for
This is
her.
the
Wow.
biggest GI practice in South Florida. Said that to me.
Wow.
Then I had
Wow.
another doctor. I took her to a urologist who said, "Look, my mother had a brain bleed, and that it was affecting. She had to go to the bathroom like 10 times a night. It affects your bladder. It affects everything." And she said, "I'm not putting your mother on this medication." This doctor said this to me, female, because I saw my mother get dementia from it. So I'm not putting your mother on anything, because my mother
Wow.
thought every time she went to a doctor, the answer was going to be a prescription.
Yep. Yep.
And
We're so
so
trained to
she's like,
that.
"Why didn't you give me something?" I'm like, "Well, she doesn't want you to get dementia."
Yes. Yes. Yes.
I met
Incredible.
amazing doctors. Maybe
Yes.
because
They're
I
so
always opened
trapped.
up to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not them, it's the system. There are beautiful, wonderful people, including the doctors that I teach yoga to, who are
Yeah.
super altruistic. They want to help people. That's why they
Yes.
got into medicine. It's not them, it's the
No,
system.
absolutely. I'm so glad we're saying that, and that includes the vaccines, the whole pandemic thing. Like, it's okay if you fell for it. It's okay. Like, no wonder. This is an absolute monstrosity. Big pharma is bigger than big oil. It's the biggest industry in the world. You know.
And the indoctrination runs so deep in medical school. In fact, what they said to me, well, the doctor said to me, Miriam, we can't go off script. the head
Yeah.
doctor at we can't go off script. And by the way,
Yeah.
she resigned several months. She's doing something. She's going to do something else. She cannot live a lie.
Yep. Yep. That's it. We just reach a point where you can't live the lie. Yep.
And I was also told you can't say all these things to these resident doctors because they're super impressionable. And I'm like, okay, what does that tell you? What does that
Yes.
tell you? It's a cult, in your
It's a
words. It's a
cult.
cult.
It's a cult. There you go.
It's
Everything's a
so
cult.
sad. It's
It
so
is. It
sad.
is. It's
But
heartbreaking. But here we
it's
are, and we're going to keep spreading the good word.
okay. So let's go to the
Okay.
Bristol stool chart.
Got it.
There are different thoughts on this, but I was doing a detox with Dr. Kaufman and his group, and well, because we were doing a detox, they wanted us to go to the bathroom 3 times a day. And I have heard before, if you eat 3 meals a day, you should go 3 times a day. I'd love to hear what your audience thinks about that or
Yeah.
what they
Let's
have
see.
heard. If you
What's
eat three
your.
meals a day, you should be going 3 times a day. Like I asked the doctors, what do you think constipation is? And they said, going once a week. I'm like, no, that's like that's like a recipe for like a big disease. That's
Absolutely.
auto intoxication.
Right. Right. Um, we'll see what folks have to say. I have another question for you, which is what precursors do you do?
Oh, I take DHEA and pregnenolone.
Okay.
DHEA is, and I went to a functional acupuncturist, a woman. I was
Mm-hmm.
flat, totally flat. I had 4 children too, and I nursed for 8.5 years. So, my hormones went up and down a lot more than yours did.
Mm-hmm.
They went up and down a lot. And I was going through a divorce and I had totally burned myself out by the time I was in midlife. By the time I was like 47, I was exercising 3 times a day, raising 4 children, running 2 households, running my husband, the whole
Mm-hmm.
thing. And my mother and my grandmother, I was helping everybody out. So I burned
Right.
out. Um, so I went to her and she said, DHEA and pregnenolone, they are the precursors. So when your ovaries and your uterus for women stop making hormones, the adrenal glands take over. My adrenal glands were shot.
Mm-hmm.
Shot. And some people, you've heard the term adrenal fatigue. A lot of doctors say, no, there's no such thing as adrenal fatigue. Well, I don't know what the adrenal insufficiency or whatever you want to call it. So I
Mm-hmm.
take DHEA and pregnenolone every morning. I'll put the brand in there. They are the precursors that help your body make their own hormones. I have a sister who's a year older than me and another sister who's another year older than her. They all do bioidentical hormones, and we're going to do it till we die.
Great.
Because I attended several these conferences online, and they were all women practitioners, and they said we will never take our women patients off of these. They were doing HRT, they were doing bioidenticals, and maybe other things. We'll never, because they have no quality of life without them.
Mm-hmm.
You can't. They don't think straight. They don't. They can't exercise. They lose muscle. They start to get all these problems. The hot flashes drive them crazy, but they get depressed too,
Yeah.
because when the estrogen withdraws and when the progesterone withdraws, it's like you see these women, they get older, and then you like, are they women or they totally lose their femininity? Have you seen that?
Yep. Yep. Yep.
They don't have hormone. They don't have
Yep.
the hormone. So Suzanne Summers had written a book about that. I don't remember what the name of her book is, but she's huge on it because it changed her life.
Great.
So
Great.
you don't
I'll put
have
that
to
in here.
do, I mean, the Ayurvedic people don't like you to take anything, but Ayurveda has Shatavari, which is a woman tonic of herbs. It has ashwagandha, which is
Mm,
another tonic. They have all these incredible tonics. So does traditional Chinese medicine. Tonics, so you can do it herbally.
right.
I tried everything herbal. It wasn't enough for me. In
Great.
fact, my
Okay.
naturopath said, you have the lowest progesterone I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
We did, we
Mm-hmm.
did, we did the hormone testing.
Wow.
And so I take DHA and pregnenolone. They're precursors. Every single
Mm-hmm.
day I take them. And I can
Right.
exercise. I have energy. My brain is can totally focus. I don't have any signs of, cognitive decline or anything, and I'm 66.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
and it works. And
Great.
the people that I know that are on it swear by it.
Great. Oh, thank you. Okay, we'll put that in there for sure.
I'll give you
So
the
many
brand and
resources for people.
I'll send you a photo of it.
Okay, good.
Um, so then this is the Bristol stool chart to tell you like what's normal and what's not.
Mm-hmm.
Um, number 2 and number 3 or number 3 and number 4 are basically normal. The other things are like there's a problem.
Mm.
There's a problem. So I mean, Cuban mothers look into the toilet when their little kids go to the bathroom. I don't
Yeah.
know if your mom did things like that.
Yeah, she's big on poop. Yep. My grandmother was a kind of she was a housewife, but she was a holistic practitioner, and she
Okay.
was all about whole foods. And we had my uncle was bedridden his entire life, and she
Oh
cared for
no.
him and gave him only whole foods, and killed her own chickens. And
What did he have?
he was probably born compromised, but she would never admit that. But he had a
Oh,
fall, and then he became just
so
in a vegetative state. Yeah,
there's a
so she literally
structural thing.
fed him everything. Yeah,
Wow. So that's
yeah.
something structural. Maybe he had a
It was so
concussion, or who knows what happened.
yeah.
So
So but
also,
32 years in bed, and she took
oh
care of him, made
no.
his food,
Wow.
everything. Hmm.
That was her son?
That was her son. That was my mother's brother, who, and she and her sister, like, they had to, turn him in bed every night.
Oh my gosh.
They
Can
lived,
you
that's how they grew up. Yeah, and all their attention kind of went to caring for him. But she did she was his medical doctor, really. And they had doctors come to the house, and she only wanted to do the highest grade, food and everything else. So
funny
there
you
was
say
some
that.
benefit to it. Yeah.
When we used to go to the doctor, and I only went for diagnosis, is my third daughter would say, "Mom, how come you always know more than they do?" I said, "Because you're my child. Because I know everything
Yes.
about you. Because I live with you. Because I'm nursing you. Because I see, I because I know you. Like you can't go in for a 10-minute appointment, and they know."
Yes, exactly.
Another thing I
Exactly.
recommend: squatty potties. Do you know about squatty potty?
Yes, I have. I used to have one. I don't need it anymore with my current potty, but yeah, they're the best.
So the
Yeah.
squatty potty elevates your knees so that you're in a position like a squat, and it helps the colon to like release the waste.
Hmm.
Super important for anybody that has constipation. I don't recommend Colace or even Metamucil or any of that stuff.
No.
Just eat real food and make sure you're hydrated enough.
Hmm.
There's other issues. There could be structural issues. There could be motility issues. That's where we go into something deeper. If people have structural issues in their body where they can't have elimination, but there's basically a resolution for everything. Once you
Hmm.
go deep into what's going on with them.
Great.
Any other
Great.
questions?
Okay, let's see.
So this thing, 5 days, 5 days of this
Okay.
will give you a good idea of what's going on.
Okay.
And
Good.
also you're waking. So if you don't sleep enough, you have this hormone that kicks in and then you're hungry all the time. Has that ever happened to
Hmm.
you?
No.
Ghrelin, it's called. It doesn't. You're like hungry all the time. I always
Yeah.
notice if I haven't slept enough, I'm like, oh my god, I can't stop eating,
Yeah. 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 You're
and it's a
wanting
real
replenishment.
signal. It's a
Yes.
real signal. Like you can't
Yes.
even deny it.
Got it. Um, everybody's just saying you're a great guest. Good to see genuine healers. Thank you.
Now, thank
Um,
you. I just wonder if
Soul
there's anything
train.
you want to know that I haven't covered. That's like this is pretty basic for me.
Kathleen says protein blocks my Parkinson's meds, though.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Oh, what's really good for shrooms is really good. Shrooms are really good for Parkinson's
Oh, there you go.
because they create new neural pathways. I don't know if she's familiar with shrooms. We're trying to
Yeah.
get my former husband. He's
Let
got
us know.
Parkinson's. Yeah.
Great. Great. Yeah. And what shrooms you would recommend? Let us know, Kathleen. Claudia says Big Food invented the high cholesterol and eggs story to get people to consume grains.
Yeah. Oh
Yes.
no. Oh,
Yes.
I grew up. I don't know how old she is, but I grew up in the '70s. They did. There was this whole low fat fad.
Hmm.
Everybody low fat. Like the government said low fat. So guess what happened? People got dementia because the brain is 30% fat or more, and then the myelin sheath, which is what keeps things soft, would like get hard. No fats.
Hmm.
Then they had low fat stuff, which is basically a chemical shitstorm. Excuse my French, garbage. And so what people were eating was carbs because they couldn't fill up. Fat is the most satiating food there is.
Yes.
It's the perfect food for the mitochondria. So I drink a
Yes.
bulletproof coffee every morning, organic coffee with coconut oil, and then I put a bunch of herbs in it from Anima Mundi. I put in
Mm.
happiness coffee, which has maca, ashwagandha, and a bunch of other items in it. And then I put in mocha milk, which is cacao, and a bunch of adaptogenic mushrooms. This is all from Anima Mundi. This is from
Great. Great. Love it. Yep.
super
Yep. That's
earthy.
great.
And then I'm like, I told the doctors, you want jet fuel for your brain? Bulletproof coffee. I don't
Love
buy
it.
the brand. I just buy an organic coffee, or I buy a mushroom coffee from Bolivia that's, in the mountains. There's no pesticides on it, and put that through a French press, and then add all my other stuff to it, and the coconut oil. That will also keep you in
Hmm.
ketosis
Hmm.
for a while so you can extend your intermittent fasting. But let me tell you, if you need to get something done, it's like hyper focus for the brain.
Totally. I do
Look
butter.
at
I haven't been lately, but I used to do butter with in my blender with mushrooms or maca or both. Yeah. But so you're reminding me to get back on it.
yeah,
It's
I
good.
love it. I stick it in the blender until it's frothy.
Yeah. Yeah,
And I
exactly.
don't go anywhere
Yum.
without it. I take it in a little baggie. If I'm going to travel on a trip, I take my stuff with me because I'm so used to it, and it's so rich. It's a ritual.
Yum.
Basically,
Yeah.
now it's become a
Yeah.
ritual. But for shrooms, psilocybin, because I've been researching it for clients of mine, is creates new neural pathways,
Yes. Yes.
and
Makes
it's
total
great
sense,
for.
right? It is the myelin of the ground of the soil. Yeah. Incredible.
So
For
protein. So
the
you
neural
can't have
pathways.
protein because of the Parkinson's meds. If I were her, I would look and see what you're being depleted from those Parkinson's meds. Maybe you can look it up on an AI app. Say what is this, if it has it, because we know that even AI app is curated. The whole internet is curated now. They will give us what they want us to know, and they will not give us what they don't want us to know.
Yep. Yep. That is true. But here we are, defying that. I haven't heard back from Kathleen, but Claudia says in Big Pharma invented the high cholesterol scam to push statins.
Yeah, no,
Exactly.
so in the 80s, oh my gosh, well, this is why I got red flagged for that talk I gave to the doctors, because I said I learned that statins is one of the most dangerous drugs on the market, and the doctor that was in the back was going, oh no, Miriam, you can't say that, because the residents, they're prescribing that. They're like, oh no, but these people are about to have, like, statins are super dangerous. They cause heart attacks, they cause
Yep.
muscle weakness, they cause mitochondrial issues, so you have energy issues. They deplete your CoQ10, they deplete your magnesium. They're terrible. In the 1980s, I read that the cholesterol level accepted was 325. That was the acceptable level,
Yeah.
325. And when I went through menopause, my premenopause cholesterol was 199. I
Mm.
exercised a lot. I ate healthy. I wasn't like not eating anything. I was eating everything. I had croissants. I had everything, and I had no issue. And I was tiny. And then I went through menopause. When your estrogen goes down, cholesterol goes up, and it was like
Mm.
in the 300s. And I'm like, I'm not taking anything for that. And then I learned by studying women's hormones that that was a natural thing that happens. When the
Wow.
estrogen goes down, the cholesterol goes up.
Fascinating. Well, there you
Fascinating.
go. Fascinating.
But no, I don't even, I think my mother had like 300. She had no heart issues. No heart issues. And I took her off everything. I mean,
Amazing
that's what
what
it
you
was
did.
before. Every cell in the body has cholesterol. Every single cell has cholesterol.
Mm-hmm.
You need it. When you
Yeah.
don't have enough cholesterol, you get dementia. Statins
Yes.
also cause dementia.
Yes. 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 And isn't it that like sugar is often the culprit that creates those little scratches in the blood vessels and then the cholesterol
I
coagulates?
think cholesterol is a healing mechanism.
Uh-huh.
It's a healing mechanism. Let me think. Wait. It's a healing mechanism. It like comes in and like takes care of stuff.
Makes sense. Makes
The
sense.
body is brilliant. The body knows exactly what to do.
Yes, and we need only listen to it. Sean says, so if my LDL cholesterol jumped 50, I don't know what the rest of
50
that question
points.
is.
It jumped
50
50
points?
points.
Yeah. Is that what happened, Sean? So if my LDL cholesterol jumped 50,
What did you do
what happened?
different? Did you do anything
It
different, or did
says,
you go through
oops,
andropause?
points 50 points after menopause. What should I do to help compensate? If my cholesterol jumped 50 points after menopause, what should I do to help compensate?
Well, look at your hormones.
Okay.
That's what I do. And look up how the cholesterol changes. No one told me that. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
what happened here? But then it all
Right.
makes sense. It all makes sense. The estrogen goes
And that,
down.
are you basically saying it's okay? It's fine.
It depends on the person, but there's cholesterol doesn't cause heart attacks. Here, I'm going to give you a great, even though it is Zach Bush. It's Zach Bush and Dr. Mark Hyman talking about the cholesterol myth. It's on YouTube. There, he's right.
Okay.
The cholesterol myth
We'll
on
give it to him.
YouTube from Zach Bush and Dr. Mark Hyman, who's like one of the top functional medicine doctors.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we had a whole module on it also, like the Lipitor, it's ridiculous. The doctor will tell you you're going to die if you don't take this cholesterol meds, but then the cholesterol doesn't cause heart disease. That's not what
There you go.
causes it.
There you go.
Triglycerides are a problem, and triglycerides are from eating too many carbs. When you eat too many carbs, they turn into sugar, and that causes problems. It's
There you
not the
go.
cholesterol. But I
Okay.
advise you to look into it.
Mm-hmm.
Statins were recommended. I would never take statins. I don't take any pharmaceuticals. The statins are going to deplete you of a lot of things. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want, I can come back another time and do like different body systems, because we learned each and every body system in depth to the point where I know what a kidney looks like and all the little parts of the kidney, all the names. We don't even need to know that, but she put us through that so that we would understand the body
Right.
in depth. But there's
Love
great
it.
things in the cardiology module about, yeah, you don't, statins are dangerous. I know they recommend that because they also make money off of recommending pharmaceuticals.
Yep. That's
I
the
don't know
bottom
if
line right
statins
there.
get a kick. I know that chemotherapy gets a kickback. I don't know if
Mm-hmm.
statins do. I know that vaccinations, pediatricians, if they don't vaccinate, they don't get paid. They wouldn't have a practice
Yes.
if they
Yes.
didn't
It's the
vaccinate.
majority of the practice. Yeah.
Yes, the well child visits, and I watched my two eldest children get more and more sick after every well child visit. If
Yep.
the
Yep.
physics PhD is listening to this today, uh,
Absolutely. Yeah.
I saw this. You cannot fool a mother, and I
No.
kept changing pediatricians until I went to someone that told me, you know what? I have 4 children. I don't do that. I also wouldn't give your kids antibiotics or dairy or gluten. This is
There you go.
32 years ago. He told me this.
Amazing. Amazing. Saved lives there right there. Yeah. Vaccines are bioweapons. Period.
So glad we're on the same page on this,
Yeah.
because I've been talking about this for 32 years. People were like,
Mm-hmm.
"No, Myriam, you're crazy." And I lived on an island where I knew everybody. They're like, "Okay, there she is, the crazy one who gives birth at home and doesn't vaccinate her kids and doesn't give her kids soft drinks and breastfeeds while they're 3 years old or whatever."
Yeah. And now, meanwhile, everybody's like, "Tell us more. Tell us everything," because we get it now. When every
They're
family
not
member's
getting it
sick, and
still.
yeah.
I don't think they're getting it still.
Well,
No.
it's
But we've come a
it's
long way.
slowly
We've come a
happening.
long way. I
We've
never
come
in
on.
my life thought that I would hear vaccines being a conversation. Never in my
Yeah.
life.
And
Because I've
now,
known it for such a long time, and here we are. But still, there's still like this PhD today telling me,
yeah.
oh, well, they're basically just repeating what they were spoon fed. Oh no, they saved lives. They saved us from this. They saved us from that. They didn't save us from anything.
No. 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 It's exactly. Sean says recommended it for also being an anti-inflammatory, so helpful for arthritis and brain inflammatory dementia.
Statins? Statins?
Statins. Yeah.
No, no. You'd have
Myriam
to
would
kill me to give me
disagree.
one. No, no, no.
You beg to
No,
differ.
do some research. Do some research on it,
Mhm.
and I can send Dr. Megan more information, or I can put it in the show notes. No, they
Great.
deplete you of so many things.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
and I've spoken to people, family members, like, oh no, I felt horrible, or my friends' mothers, or someone else. They're like, no, my mother feels terrible. I'm like, yeah, because it's making her muscles weak, and it's depleting her CoQ10, which is super important. All the
Yeah.
nutrients that the heart needs, maybe not all of them, but the statins depletes a bunch of them. CoQ10 is super important when you get older. Coenzyme Q10.
So good to know. Yeah, I
But
want you to come back
this
as
is
much
what
as you
they're
want to come back.
taught.
Yeah.
Sorry?
I said I want you to come back and tell us everything. For as long as you want to come back, come back. I mean, you'll be back
Until I
this
get put
Thursday.
into
Until what?
solitary confinement.
Until we're both jailed. Until the popo come. But maybe we've got some friends here. They'll bail us out.
Well, she heard Sean. You heard me say, I don't. Nobody can be healthy on a pharmaceutical. Nobody, and I'm not just the one. I'm not the only one that says that.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
I actually know it because I've seen it. I've seen my mother. So my grandmother, who took no pharmaceuticals, was vibrant until like 95. Vibrant.
Mhm.
She died at 99 and a half. Full of life. People are like, wow, she's so incredible. She was also very spiritually aligned. And then there's my mother, who's her daughter, who had everything under the sun because she was put on medications from her 30s on.
Mm.
And it ruined her life. And so it's
Yep.
not genetics, it's epigenetics. And I
Yep.
saw the medications destroy my mother's life. She wasn't able to parent us. You would have thought that she was an alcoholic or a drug addict, and what she was taking was pharmaceuticals temazepam, Klonopin, Xanax,
That's why I left
benzodiazepine.
clinical psychology. Yeah, it's just a nightmare. Just a nightmare. Yeah, never the root issue, and then it just gets you hooked. You just
Oh,
become
and they also
this
gave her
drug addict.
electric shock therapy.
Ugh. Ugh. Ugh.
And
Don't get
like
me started.
I said to this man who was arguing with me today on Substack, I said, look, you don't think science has to evolve? We would still be bloodletting and giving lobotomies and hysterectomies to women because they because they weren't happily married.
Yeah, yeah,
Did
exactly,
you see that
exactly.
movie Hysteria? I think the name
What's
is
that?
Hysteria. A
Yeah,
movie called Hysteria.
I never saw it. No.
Basically, they would give women a hysterectomy. No, she's crazy. Hysterectomy,
Yep. Oh yeah.
and they're like, or
Yeah, that's
lobotomy.
all of Western psychology is built on the idea of the hysterical woman. And
Is it?
it's just an enslaved woman. This what
Wow, unhappy,
that's
unfulfilled woman.
unfulfilled woman. It's an enslaved woman who didn't have an option other than to get married to a tyrant. And
Wow,
when her body and her whole being wanted to rebel and protested and was angry, she was called hysterical
and
and
also didn't enjoy intimacy with her
lobotomized.
husband. She wasn't
No,
fulfilled.
of course not.
That's what the
It's
movie was based on. It was
yeah,
interesting. I think it's called
yeah,
Hysteria. I'll look it up. Very
great.
interesting.
Yeah, yeah. It's
That's where the
the
name hysterectomy came from. Hysteria.
hysteria. Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Hysterical
And then
women.
the psychology would say that she has a wandering uterus.
Oh wow, what does that mean?
Yes, exactly. So we're gonna drug her. We're gonna
A wandering uterus, meaning
lobotomize her.
she wanted to be intimate with other people.
She wanted to be free. I'm
She
like,
wanted to be
yes, this woman.
fulfilled.
Yes, exactly. She wanted something other than this enslaved life. No,
Wow,
but how dare
that's
she?
scary.
She's got to be under her husband's thumb in
I
order
didn't
to
know
be
that.
healthy. In order to be, yeah,
That's
yep,
awful.
yep. I know, but
Free the
here we
uterus.
are, correcting things, setting them right. They've been completely backward, everything. So it was awesome. Thank you so much. So you'll be back Thursday,
Like I
same
said,
time.
this is my
Yep,
way of living,
yep,
my life, my lifestyle, my way of living. Take what works and leave the rest behind. Get second opinions. It's basically, I don't know. Look into natural ways of doing things. Look into maybe a naturopath or an acupuncturist or an Ayurvedic practitioner. Get another opinion.
yep,
Acupuncture and Ayurveda are going to say no to
yep.
any drugs. I mean, if they're really doing what they're claiming they're doing.
Yeah, no, that's great advice. Exactly. Listen to yourself and get informed and see how this sounds. See how it feels.
Right.
Great, great. Okay, thank you so much. You'll be back Thursday.
Thank you. Such an honor to be here with the brilliant Dr. Meg
So
McCarthy.
brilliant to be with Dr. Myriam. I'm just going to give out honorary doctorates.
Dr. Mom. That was my first
Dr.
one.
Mom,
Dr. Mom.
absolutely.
That'll
You're
work.
utterly brilliant. It was awesome. And like I said, come back. I mean, you'll be back Thursday, but literally come back anytime.
Yeah, and let me know anything that you want me to send you so that you can share it.
Great. I'll put it, yeah, in the show notes, in the description, you'll see a bunch of links. I'm going to keep up the post that has all her handouts until after Thursday. And then those will go into the show notes as well. Okay,
Perfect.
cool.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Thanks to
See you
everyone who
Thursday.
came. Bye.
Bye, y'all. Thanks for being here.